Hey there, welcome to Watch Recap. And today, I will explain an horror, supernatural movie called Carrie. Okay, so let's start. Margaret White is a delusional religious extremist who believes that things related to women are bad in the eyes of God, especially love. As the movie begins, we see Margaret lying on her bed with blood all around, screaming in pain and asking God for forgiveness. Her mental state is so degraded that she thinks she's going to die because of cancer, while she's actually facing labor pain. Few moments later, she stops screaming and is shocked to see a newborn baby. She thinks it is the result of the sin she committed with her husband. To kill the baby, she picks up a scissor, but couldn't find enough strength to kill a baby. The baby grows up and is named Carrie. She is forced into the fake religious beliefs by Margaret, and is not given any type of freedom. She stops Carrie from making friends, going to school and talking to men. But when Carrie turns 16, Margaret is forced by child rights activists to send Carrie to school. And as expected, she couldn't make friends. Students make fun of her for her abnormal behavior. She looks in shock, seeing girls in revealing clothes and when couples kiss, as these things are new to her. One day, while playing water volleyball, Carrie accidentally hits the popular girl Sue. Sue's friend Chris makes fun of her and everyone laughs at her. Later, she goes to the shower room to change, and at this point, Carrie gets her first period and is in panic seeing blood. Not being taught nearly anything about girls is what making her think she's going to die because of the bleeding. She goes out of the shower asking others for help. Chris makes fun of her for not knowing about periods. Soon, all the other girls started filming her naked, throwing tampons at her. Sue feels bad when she sees Carrie crying, but walks away out of fear of being called stupid. When the gym teacher Mrs. Desjardins arrives, she tries to calm Carrie as she panics even more. She slaps her to calm her down. Carrie looks at the bulb out of anger and it explodes. Carrie is now in the principal's room. He asks Mrs. Desjardins to punish the girls who made fun of Carrie. He also asks Carrie to relax as they have called his mother. However, she's worried what will happen when her mother will find out that she got her first period. She breathes heavily out of stress and suddenly, the water cooler inside the room breaks. Later, Margaret comes to pick up Carrie from school. Seeing Chris making out with her boyfriend, Margaret is worried and prays to God to show those spoiled kids the correct path. On their way, Carrie asks Margaret why she never taught her about periods, but get no answer. While getting out of the car, a neighbor kid calls Carrie a weirdo. As Carrie looks at him with anger, he falls off his bike. Many things like this have been happening to her since the last few months, but she doesn't know why. Coming in, she sees her mother banging her head against the wall, apologizing for having a daughter who will commit sin in the future like she did with her husband. She even says fake Bible verses to make Carrie believe that periods are a sin and she is a sinner. Carrie knows her mother is lying as Mrs. Desjardins explained everything about period to her previously. She says it is normal and every girl have periods. But Margaret goes against her and knocks her out, hitting a Bible on her head. She locks Carrie inside a small closet and will only let her come out when she will apologize to God for having periods. Carrie screams in anger, which makes the door crack. She also sees a small statue of Jesus which starts bleeding. Sue and her boyfriend Tommy are making love in his car at this moment. Sue tells Tommy that she feels bad for not helping Carrie today in the bathroom. Meanwhile, Chris is with her boyfriend Billy in her house. She seems to have no regret for what happened to Carrie, though she was the one who started the bullying. She uploads Carrie's video on the internet just for fun. Back at Carrie's home, Margaret is sewing clothes while singing songs, as if nothing happened today with her daughter. She let Carrie out the closet when she confirms she apologized to God. Next day, Mrs. Desjardins asks all the girls who were involved in the bullying to do suicide sprints for an hour over the week as a punishment. Students who disobey will not be allowed to go to the prom. Chris argues Mrs. Desjardins over the punishment and challenges her to stop her from coming to prom. So Mrs. Desjardins suspends her and restricts her from the prom. Chris tries to gather other girls and protest against this, but no one joins her, not even her best friend Sue. Meanwhile, The situation becomes worse for Carrie as everyone in the school has now saw the video of Carrie getting bullied. She is humiliated and they even sprays on her locker, saying Carrie White eats shit. Frustrated and filled with anger, she goes to the bathroom staring at the mirror. The mirror shatters because of her rage. She finally realizes she holds the power of psychokinesis, which means she can move and control things and even people using only her mind. To explore more about her powers, she goes to the library and reads some books about psychokinesis. She finds that, like menstruation, having powers like her is also true for some people. In the next class, she was asked to read a poem in front of the class. The teacher makes fun of Carrie. Tommy mutters insult about the teacher. When asked to say it loud, he says Carrie's poem was awesome. Carrie is shocked and shy that a guy complimented her. Meanwhile, Chris calls her lawyer father to school to be allowed to go to the prom. She plays the victim and says Mrs. Desjardins verbally abused her. Mrs. Desjardins then asks her for her phone, which have the video of Carrie. She refuses and so is found guilty. That night, Carrie tests her powers in her room, lifting her bed and books. Hearing the noise, Margaret goes upstairs with a knife to check. Carrie pretends to be asleep and fools Margaret. The next day, Sue asks Tommy to go to the prom with Carrie and she will not go to the prom so they both can have fun. Sue thinks Carrie deserves at least one night of fun. Tommy doesn't want to go with Carrie but is convinced by Sue. He then goes to Carrie and asks her out to the prom. Carrie is surprised and thinks she will be pranked, so she goes away. Mrs. Desjardins finds Carrie crying in the bathroom. Carrie tells her about Tommy. Mrs. Desjardins encourages her to say yes, but is aware that Tommy doesn't like Carrie so he might play with her. So she warns Tommy that she is watching if he's trying to play with Carrie. Tommy comes to Carrie's house. She is scared because Margaret wouldn't like her talking to a guy. Tommy says he won't go unless she says yes to go with him to the prom. She says yes but will want him to drop her home before 10:30 p.m. She seems to be happy finally having some fun like other kids. She goes to buy a new dress for the prom, but the dresses are too expensive, so she buys fabrics and decides to sew one herself. Chris sees her shopping and smiling and so is filled with rage. Chris and her friends decides that they will prank her in the prom party. Returning home, Margaret is filled with anger. Carrie tells her she will go to prom with Tommy. Margaret says she is not allowed to do that. Filled with anger, Carrie shakes the whole house and levitates everything. Margaret thinks her daughter is possessed by the devil and so prays to God. Carrie asks her to stop, but she prays even louder. Carrie levitates her in the air, which makes her quiet. She releases her and asks her to go and sleep. Meanwhile, Chris and Billy along with their friends are at the farm. They collect some blood by cutting a pig's throat, and then breaks into the gymnasium, which will be the prom venue. They plan to dump the blood on Carrie when she will be on the stage. On the prom night, Carrie gets ready and puts on light makeup. She is looking gorgeous, but is still nervous. Her mother makes her even more nervous by saying everyone will laugh at her and will hate her. And so Carrie locks her inside the closet and walks out. Tommy is stunned when he looks at her, realizing how beautiful she is. They go to the prom, and Tommy introduces her to his friends. Mrs. Desjardins also compliments her, saying she looks beautiful in that dress. Carrie starts to get comfortable around Tommy. They later dance together and Carrie is so happy feeling this all for the first time. But then, Billy and Chris breaks into the venue and are ready to prank Carrie, waiting for the right moment. They messed with the prom king and queen election, making sure Carrie and Tommy are elected. When they will come on the stage to receive the award, they will drop the bucket of blood on Carrie. Right now, Chris texts Sue about what they are going to do with Carrie. Sue rushes to the prom to stop this from happening. Now, Tommy and Carrie won the title of king and queen, and are invited to the stage to take the award. As they proceed, Carrie is happy seeing everyone clapping for her and Tommy. Sue notices Chris above the stage, but Mrs. Desjardins sees Sue and locks her, thinking she will spoil the night for Carrie. Finally, Chris drops the bucket on Carrie and plays the bullying video on the big screen. Everyone starts laughing at Carrie, making fun of her. Mrs. Desjardins comes to help her but is pushed away by Carrie. She now let go of her powers and decides to punish everyone who laughs at her. The bucket falls on Tommy and kills him right away. Carrie screams her rage and the crowd is blown away by her powers. Chris and Billy manages to escape. However, when other people tried to escape, Carrie locked every door and starts throwing tables at everyone and kills them one by one. She holds down 2 girls on the ground and they get crushed by other people running over them. The place catches fire as she breaks the whole electrical setup and lights. She places Mrs. Desjardins safely on the stage, but finishes the rest of the remaining people. She then chases Billy and Chris trying to escape. They try to run over her, but Carrie stops their car, killing Billy right away. Chris also tries to escape but is thrown into the gas station by Carrie. Carrie then watches her die slowly as she's stuck in the windshield. She returns home and finds that her mother is not inside the closet. She takes a bath and cleans herself. She cries because she killed many people out of rage. Margaret appears in front of her. Carrie hugs her and says she was right about everyone making fun of her. But Margaret still thinks her daughter is possessed by the devil, so she stabs her in the back. Carrie tries to run for her life, but Margaret holds her on the ground and goes in for the kill. Carrie stops her using her powers and then kills her by throwing sharp objects at her. She cries holding her dying mother in her arms. She decides to destroy the house and die in it. But Sue comes inside the house and tries to stop her. Carrie tries to kill her too, but stops when Sue tells her that she is pregnant and will give birth to a baby girl. She safely gets Sue out of the house before it diminishes. Sue watches the whole house falling as Carrie dies in it. Some months later, Sue is in the hospital bed screaming in pain while giving birth. A bloody hand breaks from inside of her. She wakes up and is comforted by her mother, realizing it's just a bad dream. Sue is so scared, thinking that she will soon give birth to Carrie. This is where the movie ends. Subscribe to the channel if you love movies, like and share the video, we appreciate it. See you again.